Welcome back. All right, so we're going to talk about the Ottawa Senators today. I talked about the Winnipeg Jets yesterday. The Ottawa Senators, it is 7 years of no playoffs for them. They're trying to get back into the playoffs this season, and it does feel kind of like one of those broken record type things. So when I'm doing the season previews, which are coming up soon, I'm going to be including a bunch of information, a bunch of stats and stuff. Trying to do some big picture stuff while talking about how the team's going to do this coming season. So don't worry, I won't be repeating myself when those videos come around in a couple of weeks' time. Keep your eyes peeled for those. So the Ottawa Senators made the playoffs in 2017. Last time they made the playoffs was 2017, and they almost made it to the final. Almost. And it definitely left them thinking they were closer than they were. And 2017, 2018, they crashed. They ended up with a 409 points percentage. But any hopes of a bounce back get dashed early in the 2018-2019 season, where they finished with a 390 points percentage. At the time of the pause in 2020, they had a 437 points percentage. In 2021, playing in the Canadian division, a 455 points percentage. And then the following season, they drop. When we go back to an 82 game schedule, normal divisions, 445 was their points percentage. So that's 5 straight seasons below 500. That does change in 2022 2023, where they end up with a 524 points percentage. They faded late. They look like they could have been a playoff team. They don't quite get there. And then this past season, I would argue the most disappointing since 2017 2018, where they finished with a 476 points percentage. 2017 2018 was disappointing in that Ottawa got off to an okay start, and then they picked up Duchesne with the idea that this is going to be enough to get us there, and it really didn't. So since then, we've seen a lot of players exit the Ottawa Senators, a new core come in. There was a lot of talk about how cheap Eugene Melnyk was, but now we have new ownership, we have a new GM, we have a new coach for this season as well. Is it going to turn Ottawa around? So they were 18th in goals for this past season, so they need to make an improvement there. They were 26th in goals against, which is why they've made changes both on the blue line and in net. And they may miss Chychrun. They may very well miss Chychrun, but I think Chychrun might have been redundant on this blue line. They may just have too many players that were too similar to one another. And so they make that change. Now their cap space, they do have a little bit of cap space here, almost $2 million actually. $1,909,285. So they have more cap space than 8 or 9 different teams in the league. It does mean that for trading purposes, they may be able to make trades that other teams may not be able to. So when we look at their lineup, I want to talk about their top 9 forwards. And this is leaving out room for any rookies coming in or anything like that, which could absolutely happen. Brady Tkachuk, 81 games played this past season, 37 goals, 37 assists, 74 points. Tkachuk had a good year, not a great year. The thing with Tkachuk is I think he should be above 40 goals. I think he should be above 82 points as well. And I think with Tkachuk, at times his temper got the worst of him this past season. I understand it was a frustrating season, probably for him personally as well as for the team. But he's going to need to keep his cool, I think, in the future. But I remember his brother Matthew going through that period of time in Calgary as well. And that got straightened out. Now Matthew's a Stanley Cup champion, so there's no reason to think Brady can't follow in his brother's footsteps there. Tim Stützle, 75 games this past season, 18 goals, 52 assists, 70 points. Stützle should be better than that. He should be above 85 points. He should be more in the 90-point range. So right there, that's 2 players that I think could be better this year. Claude Giroux, obviously on the back 9 of his career, but he had 64 points this past season, 21 goals, 43 assists in 82 games. So he's still productive, right? We'll see if that stays the case this season. David Perron, who was added in the offseason, 76 games this past year, 17 goals, 30 assists, 47 points with the Detroit Red Wings. Josh Norris, 50 games, 16 goals, 14 assists, 30 points. They need Norris to be healthy and productive. If Norris is both healthy and productive, I don't see them finishing 18th in goals scored again. Drake Batherson had a pretty good year. 28 goals, 38 assists, 66 points in 82 games. And I think you'll take that. Is there room for more? Probably a little bit more. Maybe above 70 points. Maybe he ends up on that top line instead of second line. We'll see. Again, I just take the lines from, in this case, it was from Daily Faceoff, because it's July. It doesn't matter. Ridley Gregg, 72 games, 13 goals, 13 assists, 26 points for Ridley Gregg. A very good young forward, capable of a lot more than that. Shane Pinto, 41 games, 9 goals, 18 assists, 27 points. When he was finished serving his suspension, the gambling suspension, he was pretty darn good. And it's nice to see that Ottawa and Pinto got a deal done. Wasn't a long-term deal this summer, but they've got a contract signed for the next 2 years. And now it's up to Pinto to go out and do what he did this past season, because he showed he could be a second-line center. Amadio, an addition for this team, 73 games, 14 goals, 13 assists, 27 points. Good depth player, comes from a winning environment in Vegas. We'll see how Amadio does in Ottawa. On the blue line, you've got Jake Sanderson. You may be of the opinion that he's overrated. You may be of the opinion he's underrated. I've seen both opinions expressed widely online. I think he's an excellent defenseman. 10 goals, 28 assists, 38 points in 79 games. Zub, underrated, I think, by fans who don't watch Ottawa, but 69 games, 5 goals, 20 assists, 25 points. Really strong season there. Shabbat, 51 games, 9 goals, 21 assists, 30 points. So Shabbat and Sanderson battling it out. I think Sanderson's probably the better of the two right now. Again, there's that debate online. Jensen, 78 games, 1 goal, 13 assists, 14 points. Nick Jensen, solid veteran depth defenseman, and he's more defensive, obviously, than Chychrun was. In net, you've got Ullmark coming over from Boston. He had a record last year in Boston of 22, 10, and 7, a .915 save percentage. And then Anton Forsberg, who had a rough save percentage of .890, but he had a winning record at 15 and 12. So they won when he played, and that could be a key thing. So the exits from the roster by my count are Chychrun. You've also lost Matthew Joseph, a contract which I don't think was a problem, but Ottawa decided to move that contract to St. Louis, and they used that in order to make a little bit of a change up front. Brandstrom, of course, they didn't give him a qualifying offer. He goes to Colorado. Parker Kelly is gone as well. Kubalik is out there as an unrestricted free agent. Can't see him re-signing in Ottawa. And Korpisalo, of course, traded in the Ullmark deal. A little bit of retention on Korpisalo there, but I think Ottawa's fine with that because, honestly, they needed to make a change in net. So one question mark becomes, so you have Travis Green in as the coach. I remember when he was the coach in Vancouver, and there was a lot of talk about how he was a popular target for other GMs should he end up out of a job with Vancouver. Took him a little bit more time for him to find another head coaching job in the NHL than we may have expected when those conversations were being had about what a good young coach he was. But for Travis Green now, this is a chance for him to show that he can pull a team into a playoff spot that hasn't been there for a long time. And I do think Travis Green has good qualities as a coach. I understand that, for Canuck fans towards the end, they wanted him gone and everything. But I think he can have a successful run in Ottawa. Why not? So they didn't have 2022 or 2023 first-round picks. One mistake that I thought Pierre Dorion made was deciding, okay, we're good. We're going to trade guys out. We're good. And deciding that, they were ready to maybe make the playoffs. Although you don't 100% commit to that if you're the GM, right? So anyways, not having first-round picks, that's problematic when you have a team that hasn't made the playoffs. Their first pick in 2023 wasn't until the 108th draft choice. So, again, when you're on a team that hasn't made the playoffs, when you're running a team that hasn't made the playoffs, and you don't have a draft pick until 108th, it's difficult to pick up those good young prospects. And in 2021, they picked 10th. They picked up Tyler Boucher, and the jury was out on whether or not that was the right pick at that spot. And at this stage, Tyler Boucher has yet to play a game in the NHL. He's got a few games in the in the AHL, and he has played. I believe it's in the OHL where he's been most of the time. But yeah, Boucher is one that I don't know what the future is there or what he's going to end up doing. We'll see, right? It's one of those we'll sees, and that's one of the most commonly used phrases on this channel during the offseason because we just don't know. 2020 was a very good draft for them, though. They draft Stützle, Sanderson, and Gregg in the first round. 3 hits in the first round, not too shabby. You'll see when we get to a redraft that I did that's posting while I'm on vacation. Sometimes having multiple picks in the first round, if you don't have the right GM making those picks, it doesn't matter how many picks you have in the first round. So Stützle, $8.35 million cap hit until 2031. Based on this past season, is that high? Maybe a little bit. Tkachuk at $8.21 million, his cap hit until 2028. I think you'll accept that if you're the Ottawa Senators. Norris is $7.95 million cap hit till 2030. He needs to be healthy and productive for that cap hit not to look bad. Batherson, $4.98 is the cap hit. like 4.98 million till 2027. I think that's perfectly reasonable for a guy with 66 points. Pinto, the contract he agreed to with management over the summer here, $3.75 million cap hit for 2 more years, and he's a restricted free agent again in 2026. I think he's an unrestricted free agent the next year, so it could get kind of murky once we get to 2026, but you're not worried about that right now if you're a Sens fan. On the blue line, Sanderson, $8.05 million cap hit till 2032. There's going to be the debate about whether or not it's any good, but honestly, if you're a Sens fan, I think you're probably just fine with Sanderson making good money because he's a very good defenseman. Shabbat, $8 million cap hit till 2028, and Zub, $4.6 million cap hit till 2027. In net, both Ullmark and Forsberg are on expiring deals. It's a $5 million cap hit for Ullmark this year, $2.75 million cap hit for Forsberg. And so one thing that I think is important to point out with the Ottawa Senators is in 2017, when things started to fall apart following those playoffs, part of it was you had an owner that said, I'm not going to pay the big money. And then you get a new young core with a lot of the picks and prospects you get with the guys being traded out. And since then, they've been willing to spend the money. So they're willing to spend the money to keep these players long term. Will it stay that way? It should. Getting a new building will definitely help. We should find out about that over the next month or so, what's going on with the LeBreton Flats, or if they decide to go downtown, or what Ottawa decides to do. Michael Andlauer, if he plays this right, he could look like a hero to the people of Ottawa if he can get that building put up and put up quickly. It is another city in need of a new arena, and Ottawa's going to make that happen. I think they will. I don't think it should be a problem. But let me know your thoughts. Do you expect Ottawa to be a playoff team? Because when I look at this team, I see a team that's not dissimilar from the one that finished this last season. Yes, they've got a better goaltender in Ullmark. The .915 save percentage tells you he was a little bit above average in the NHL this past season. And overall, the picture for Ottawa is good. I don't know if they're a playoff team, though. That's the question I throw out to you right now. Is this roster, as it's been put together by Steve Stais, and with Travis Green behind the bench, will we see them playing important games in April and then playoff games beyond that? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you've not done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.